It's a very green garden. And that is one of the benefits of permaculture. Well, right here it's a very purple garden. For example, it's not even planting time for traditional gardening. That's not my garden, that's the neighbor. There's a fence that goes here. It's starting to be few enough daffodils that I'm actually finding a bunch of dandelions that I have pulled up, probably 8 or so this morning. But like, you couldn't tell that the dandelions were even there because the daffodil coloration was so intense. And we still have quite a lot of daffodils happening. These are a rather late variety. And the lighter yellow ones along the edge are an even later variety. Here's a close by bundle that I can. Aren't they cute? Let's see if we can get that to focus. Yeah, those are adorable. But slightly less cute in that format. There's a couple more there, and they're all along the edge here. My new plants are all doing great. I just put some extra nitrogen on the hazelnuts, hoping that that'll get them to actually get moving here. This is a format by which I take care of weeds, and considering a few others, but I do have one barrel here that seems to be ready to go. It takes a few years, and I don't know what that white stuff is. Let's not worry about it. It takes a few years to make sure. That's their trash can rolling up against the railing there. Of just sitting baking in the sun inside a black container with a lid on. And then I just kind of like, this is usually the one that I'm filling. So I need to dump that, use what I can. The sunchoke, Jerusalem artichoke, is finally coming up. It is a late sprouter. It needs to be very warm before it decides to start being green. But then very quickly becomes 10 to 12 feet tall. And that's a similar story to the Joe Pye. All of these sticks that are at least 10 foot tall, very fragile, good tinder, we found out, etc., etc. That's a weed. I'm going to pull it before it goes to seed. I can just barely see some of its sprigs coming up. And these are both natives, so that has something to do with that. My new jostaberries right there. The red currants there. Sweet cherry. And I think today is the day that I'm going to go ahead and put at least one of the honeyberries in the ground. And that is a hole that I started before, but it's now filled in with ground ivy, so I'm going to have to redig it. Yeah, a lot of weeds, a lot of maintenance. The flowers on the Saskatoon and cherry are done. Their little mini fruits are starting. This is how many flower stalks were on this rhubarb. I really don't like this rhubarb plant because all it does is flower stalks. I eat the flowers. You can't eat the stalks. I eat the flowers, but it's annoying. I really don't like it. I did notice that the seeds from that elephant amaranth I do have a few sprouts in here. It's starting to be seed sprouting season, which is great. And then there's a ton of seeds along here. I'm growing a bit concerned that all of those hardy glads that I got off my brother's house, haven't seen a sign of a single one of them yet, so I'm growing a bit concerned about that. There's quite a few weeds along here too. And a lot of these are, I suppose, technically weeds. But I like them. A beefsteak plant, akashiso. That's a piece of glass. This is a rose of Sharon. That is a violet. And this here is a pea shoot. This is bittercress. Quite a few strawberry flowers starting up here. I noticed a couple of these. The only reason that any strawberries from these two tires survived seems to be that they put shoots down into the valley here. I don't know what was wrong this winter. But, yeah, those strawberries didn't like it there. So I pulled them from in here and put them back up because it's the reason that the strawberries are in tires is to keep them contained. And then when I see that they've escaped, I just pull them up and stick them back in the tire. Yep. So that's what's going on here. These are the Clematis Celtic Sky. Really, really beautiful purple, like doubled petal thing. They'll get started blooming pretty soon. And they'll keep going for a while. Got some lilies coming up all through here. I'm still hoping to see more lilies coming up through here because the tree lilies that I planted in here, if you were following along last year, which I wouldn't expect a whole lot of people were, you might or might not even remember because it's overwhelming information, but I remember that the tree lilies I planted in here, quite a few of the bulbs that I had, the growing portion popped out, and they didn't restart that year. That was like, okay, I'm done, and they quit. So I'm really hoping that the tree lilies will be very densely populated through here this year, because that was like pretty much the goal, but I kind of screwed up. So I see a couple more new tree lily shoots. Here's, whoop, that's oddly shadowed. There's one, and the other ones are like much more advanced. This is a different type of lily, one my brother gave me, and I don't know what kind, the white kind, I don't know, shrug. And there's a few of those through here. I'm not sure, do I see any others, or is that just the only new one? And then these are starting to come up. This is the, oh, can you even tell? Ay, ay, ay. Come on, focus on it. Yeah, there we go. This is the native milkweed that I planted and immediately had monarchs come to the yard. So one of the theories that they're coming up with is that it really does matter whether you plant native or invasive milkweeds. And I would say, yeah, probably, because I never see the monarch butterflies, hi, or the caterpillars. I never see them in the patch of milkweed down at the bottom of the hill. But as soon as I got verified native milkweed plants growing up here, I saw so many monarch caterpillars crawling on them and eating them, and I was very happy about that. So there's quite a few coming up. I have a couple more in little pots. But back in here, this and that both are. And there should be some coming up back here soon. Just pulling problem plants as I find them. While they're small, they're much easier to get out, as discussed in an earlier video. A lot of Rosa Sharon. As always, I hate how dispersive this plant is and cannot wait to replace this hedge with Saskatoon and slowly prick the unwanted beasties out. Yeah, here's one. That's a well-established one. Look how good that's doing. Yeah, so these are doing really good, and I'm happy. Everything's doing really good. Kind of hoping to start getting some sunken pots into the rows up over here. And get that going. Hopefully pull out some of the daffodils and get those around the pots. And I got one more Saskatoon to pull up from alongside that one there. So basically I'm going to get an armory of Saskatoons going just to get from here back into a food hedge. I don't know, it's such a silly thing to say. And then up in here, I believe I have a Saskatoon seedling already started. Let me see if we can get this without shadowing it. It's difficult. Which one is it? Here we go. This one right here. I am pretty sure that is one of the Saskatoons of Lawrenceville. Hopefully I'll get more and more. I went in and pulled the things that I knew weren't anything I wanted out of this overwintered seeds section. Those are ones that need winter stratification or cold stratification. This will be where the pots will go. And the wind's noticeable. The air is a bit chilly. But it's a gorgeous day. So this is probably long enough. You've seen the garden. You've seen me be excited. I hope you're having a good day too. Bye.